People are very surprised about in their reactions when I tell them that drowning is fast and silent.
All of us are born and raised in the Netherlands, so we have swim classes when we're 6
And
so life jackets.
Yeah.
A lot of times this is something that people think does not affect them, is not going to impact them, and it's not something they need to think about. And I've learned through this work for the last almost 8 years that drowning has no boundaries. It doesn't matter your race, your gender, your ethnicity, your swimming ability, even your age. Certainly under the age of 5, it's the biggest problem. But this message is for everyone.
My mother didn't know how to swim, but she wasn't afraid of the water, but she didn't know how to swim, so she wouldn't get in. Single mom, and she decided that her son, only son, was not going to be afraid of the water or not know how to swim. So she would take pennies and throw them in the pool, like on the steps, so that I could just reach them and get them. And I would get to keep the pennies that I would collect. So it was an interesting psychological game that she was playing. And so she would gradually throw these pennies or nickels or dimes further and further from the wall and a little deeper and deeper. So I became comfortable and confident in the water and basically taught myself to swim.
I think, getting over the fear of watching a child drown or even having that be a possibility is really about education. So I think parents can just educate themselves, and a great starting point is Colin's Hope.
The day after Colin drowned, I got a phone call from someone at the preschool where Colin went and my daughter Ella went as well, asking to help get some counselors over to the school because a student had drowned the day before. Losing a child to anything is horrible, but losing a child to something that's preventable is tragic. So I got involved as a volunteer, and my volunteering grew and grew and grew for the first 2.5 years. And eventually they had the opportunity to hire an executive director, so I left my job of 10 years to be the first staff person of Colin's Hope.
I was at the pool the day Colin died, and I had my son with me, I had my daughter with me, and it absolutely really impacted me in a very visceral way, just being a parent, being a father of these 2 young kids who were not much younger than Colin at the time, and knowing that it could have been one of them really struck a chord with me and quite frankly terrified me.
Colin's Hope does a lot of things in the community and beyond. One of the things that we're incredibly proud of and really feel that can have some incredible reach in drowning prevention is our website. colinshope.org is built out. There's a ton of water safety resources, so the things we talk about, layers of protection, watching kids around water and learning how to swim.
My kids were not nearly as good in the pool at the time as Colin was, so that was even more resonant to me, because you can have a great swimmer for a kid who can still somehow just have an accident, and that really struck a chord with me, and just, it resonated in a way that I think not being a parent probably wouldn't have.
Colin was born in Austin, Texas on September 2nd, 2003. I remember coming home from the hospital with Colin for the first time, thinking just how fortunate we were. We had a healthy, happy 2-year-old daughter, and now our family was complete with our newborn son, Colin. Colin's enthusiasm and personality were contagious, and because of that, Colin found it easy to make friends. And anytime Colin spent time with the 3 amigos or his friends, he'd often like to end the day saying, "Dad, today was the best day ever." And each and every best day ever was followed by another. Summer had just started and the kids were out of school. Colin and his older sister had just finished their annual swim lessons, and at the end of the swim lessons, they were both awarded their swim medals. The medal was something Colin was very proud of because historically he'd been very cautious around the water. He didn't particularly like getting his face splashed or putting his head underneath the water, but this year he had worked really hard and his swim skills were really starting to improve. By the end of the lessons, Colin was holding his breath longer, he was putting his head underneath the water, kicking, splashing, and really starting to have a good time in the water. The very next day, several families went to a new pool that Colin hadn't been to before, and Colin was very excited to show everyone his new swim skills. And Colin played with the group of kids that they were with as they dashed around the pool, splashing, ducking in and out of the water. And a few minutes later, time froze still as the group realized that Colin was no longer with them. And as everyone looked around the pool, desperately trying to find Colin, just a few moments later, Colin was pulled from the water, unconscious, not breathing.
So when I walked up and saw who I now know to be Colin on the deck receiving CPR, that was a shock.
After what started as a best day ever with family and friends turned into a tragedy.
We joke in my house that it's called She's Always Working, because it doesn't matter what's happening. I'm either wearing something Colin's Hope or the vehicle, so I'm constantly just making it happen.
Colin's aunt invited me in 2010 to be part of the first inaugural Running Buddies team. They were putting a team together to run the Austin Marathon, and she said, "You're a runner, you should do this marathon." And we raise money for Colin's Hope, and it's all win-win. And I thought, okay, I can do that. This is bigger than me now.
We have a golf tournament, the Colin's Hope Classic, that happens in April. We do the Colin's Hope Got to Swim Lake Austin. It's a 10K solo 2 or 3 person relay. It's the Thursday before Labor Day weekend. It's every year, it's right around Colin's birthday. And we do the Colin's Hope Kids Triathlon in September every year. And that's getting almost 400 young athletes ages 5 to 15, running, biking, swimming, raising awareness and pledges for Colin's Hope, and just having a best day ever.
And this is why we started Colin's Hope, to raise drowning awareness prevention and help other families not go through what our family has suffered.
If I could say one thing to people watching this video, I would say that drowning is preventable, and you're the key.
One thing I want people watching this video to know is that drowning is preventable, and I'm going to challenge anyone watching this video to go to our website and take our water safety quiz, become a water guardian, and change your behaviors around water, because together we can achieve the vision of a world where no one drowns.
When I think about what she and Jeff started with Colin's Hope, to turn their tragedy into something so amazing, so giving. I want their message, literally, to reach the world.